The film begins in 2001, introducing a woman named Megan Levy, whose life is in shambles. She's been fired from her job, her parents are divorced, and she lives with her uncaring mother. To make matters worse, her best friend has passed away, and Megan is at rock bottom. She wants to escape her situation, but she doesn't know where to go or what she wants to do. However, one day she realizes that if she doesn't make a change, she might not make it out of her struggles alive. So she makes a bold decision. Megan leaves without taking any belongings and without telling her mother. On her way, her mother calls her, but she doesn't reveal that she's joining the United States Marine Corps. Becoming a Marine is an unconventional choice for a woman, and Megan faces rigorous training that pushes her to her limits. From a life of comfort, she's suddenly forced to muster all her physical strength to become a soldier. The training is not just about physical strength, but also about mental toughness and discipline. Megan has to adapt to a harsh and challenging environment, learning to face pain, exhaustion, and intense mental pressure. Despite the odds, she succeeds in becoming a soldier, a career she never thought she'd have. When her mother, Jackie, attends her graduation ceremony with her partner, Jim, Megan confronts her about her troubled past. It turns out that Jackie's infidelity with her husband's best friend is a significant part of Megan's pain. To make matters worse, Jackie isn't there to support Megan's new career, but to inquire about the insurance payout if Megan were to die in combat. Hearing this, Megan walks away, leaving Jackie behind. One day, Megan was assigned to San Diego to join the patrol unit. She befriended two other female Marines, Timmons and Lopez, and the three of them spent a night out, getting drunk. On their way back to the barracks, Timmons vomited on the street, and Megan urinated inappropriately near the provost marshal's office. They were caught by the night guards, and as a result, Megan was summoned by the master sergeant the next day. She was reminded that the Marine Corps is an institution for serving the country, not a place for troublemakers looking for an escape from life. One more mistake and you'll be kicked out of the Marine Corps, she was warned. Megan was then reassigned from patrol duty to handling military dogs, where she met Ghani Martin. The new assignment proved to be a challenge, as Megan was tasked with cleaning dog kennels filled with waste and stench for a whole week. It was there that she first met a dog named Rex. Initially, she thought her role was just to clean the kennels, but she was wrong. Ghani assigned her to be a training target for the dogs, wearing thick protective gear as they practiced their aggression. During one such session, she was reintroduced to Rex, who was aggressive. Megan was instructed to run to test Rex's speed. Afterward, Megan was informed that the role of military dogs was to detect bombs or mines in war zones, serving as the front line before ambushes. This experience sparked a newfound challenge in her. She visited Rex's kennel, trying to gain confidence around the military dog. She spoke to Rex as if to reassure herself that she wasn't afraid. She then asked Ghani about the requirements to become a dog handler, which included not only cleaning but also marksmanship skills and scoring above 90% on tests. After a week, Megan completed her assignment, but had set her sights on becoming a dog handler. She began preparing herself to pass the tests, training day and night in shooting and physical fitness. To cut a long story short, one day Megan met Ghani again and shared the news that she had ranked first in her training. She had become proficient in using firearms. Ghani accepted her progress but didn't immediately assign her a dog to handle. Instead, Ghani wanted to see if Megan was truly ready to become a skilled dog handler. Megan was given a can to train with as an initial simulation. She accepted the challenge and began training with the can. One day, Ghani gathered the team and Megan was the only woman present. Ghani introduced them to a sergeant named Andrew, who had just returned from Iraq. Andrew shared his experiences, explaining that while the military dogs were trained, they would face unfamiliar bombs, sandstorms that would affect their sense of smell, and rivers that would pose additional challenges in the war zone. The battlefield would be vastly different, and there was a risk of injury or death. They were also taught to treat injuries to their dogs, including Megan with her training can. During training, Corporal Walter struggled with handling Rex, even getting bitten. Walter complained to Ghani, who decided to reassign Rex to Megan. Initially, Walter was unhappy, but it was Ghani's decision. Megan went to the kennel to bond with Rex, feeding the aggressive dog. Rex must remember the woman he bit in the butt yesterday. At first, Rex was unresponsive, but Megan patiently waited until Rex began to listen. She continued talking to Rex calmly until the dog finally accepted her. After Rex began to trust her, they started training together. Initially, Megan struggled to control Rex during bomb detection exercises, failing to find a hidden bomb. Andrew taught Megan to trust Rex's instincts. Sometimes the search isn't linear, but you have to trust the dog's sense of smell. Andrew emphasized that he couldn't teach the bond between Megan and Rex. Megan had to build it herself. If she trusted Rex, The dog would do his job well. As they spent more time together in the kennel, Rex became more obedient to Megan. When Rex's paw was bandaged, he remained calm. Walter, who was cleaning the kennels, wished Megan and Rex well in their mission. The night before their deployment, Megan couldn't sleep. She visited Rex in the kennel and brought him to her room. The next day, the day of their departure arrived. At the airbase, Megan and Rex were ready to head out for the next 7 months in Iraq. Andrew wished Megan well, hoping she would return to America with Rex. On the plane, Rex was restless, but Megan managed to calm him down by covering his crate and sleeping next to him. After arriving in Iraq, Megan and Rex were assigned to Al Anbar province, Camp Ramadi. Megan slept alone in her room with Rex, and the sound of gunfire broke the silence of the night. The next morning, Megan prepared for her first mission. She met Corporal Morales, who had been serving there previously with his dog, Chico. Morales was assigned to guide Megan on her first mission. They were tasked with patrolling a high-risk area in the heart of the city. Morales advised Megan to be vigilant and cautious, knowing that the mission wouldn't be easy, especially for someone new. Together, they began searching vehicles and ensuring security in the area. The day was tense, with unpredictable situations arising. On another day, Megan continued training Rex, knowing he was crucial to their mission. One day, Megan was called for a sudden mission to search a house, while Morales searched the streets. Inside the house, which was filled with carpets, the owner assured them he was just a carpet seller and not an enemy. Megan and Rex did their job well, and to their surprise, they discovered hidden weapons in the walls. This was an incredible achievement for Megan and Rex, earning Megan recognition as a reliable Marine on the front lines. Megan also formed a closer friendship with Morales, and they began sharing their reasons for becoming Marines and dog handlers. Megan shared the story of her best friend's death, which had been caused by excessive drinking at a party. Megan felt guilty, believing it should have been her instead of her friend. The next morning, Megan and Rex were back on duty sweeping the streets. They discovered a bomb on an overpass. Good job, Megan and Rex. This made Megan more favored than Morales and Chico. During a mission 10 kilometers from the base, Megan and Rex were tasked with securing the road before a convoy passed through. Rex detected a mine buried in the ground. After 2 hours of sweeping the road, they found several potential bomb locations. As they continued their mission, a car approached without slowing down, prompting them to fire warning shots. The driver eventually stopped and surrendered. Megan was instructed to inspect the vehicle. Before she could reach the car, a bomb exploded from the ground, throwing Megan and Rex a significant distance. Both were injured in the attack. Megan was questioned about why Rex couldn't detect the mine. Others could have died. It turned out the mine was buried deeper than usual, with a remote trigger likely targeting Megan and Rex for an ambush. Despite this, Megan insisted on continuing the mission, refusing to be replaced by Morales. "This has become personal," she said. Megan and Rex were tasked with searching a house suspected of being an enemy hideout. The first house was secure, but in the second house, a former school, they found the remote trigger that had injured them earlier. Rex began barking uncontrollably, and they came under bazooka fire. Several team members were seriously injured, and with ammunition running low, they decided to retreat. Megan nearly got left behind after falling from the vehicle but managed to get back in. They eventually returned to the base safely. Due to their injuries, Megan and Rex had to part ways temporarily. Megan was hospitalized, diagnosed with a perforated eardrum. However, instead of worrying about herself, Megan was more concerned about Rex. Because of her condition, Megan would be sent home for 3 weeks, followed by training and rehabilitation before returning to the base. To cut a long story short, Megan arrived in America and was picked up by her beloved father, Bob. She was then taken to her mother's house to spend Christmas. Megan wasn't really interested in celebrating Christmas with her mother. She was more eager to find out when Rex would be returning to the base. However, no one could tell her, so she decided to visit the base herself. There, she met Andrew again, who was about to be deployed with his dog, Bruno. While chatting, Megan was informed that Rex had just arrived at the base. She was overjoyed to see Rex again, and Rex was equally happy to see her. Upon arrival, Rex underwent medical treatment, and they both started physical therapy together to recover. Due to her experience in Iraq, Megan also became a trainer for new Marines. Months later, Megan reunited with Morales, who had just returned from duty. They spent time catching up, and it turned out they had developed feelings for each other. Megan shared that since the incident, she still experienced headaches and flashbacks to the bomb explosion. As time passed, tragic news arrived. Sergeant Andrew had been killed in action while trying to stop a suicide bomber. Bruno, his dog, survived, but Andrew didn't. Megan realized that what happened to Andrew could have happened to her. Both she and Rex were traumatized. Rex often refused to train. Therefore, Megan decided not to re-enlist for the sake of Rex. When she shared her plan with Ghani, he laughed, believing that once a Marine, always a Marine. Ghani gave her 2 weeks to reconsider, convinced she would ask to return to duty. However, Megan had made up her mind to adopt Rex and live a civilian life. But the decision to adopt Rex depended on the veterinarian at the military hospital. According to the doctor, Rex was unsuitable for adoption due to his aggressive behavior. Megan pleaded to have the record changed, but the doctor refused. Megan believed Rex's aggression was a normal reaction to his trauma. Since Rex couldn't be adopted, he was being prepared for redeployment without Megan's knowledge, as she had decided not to re-enlist. Rex was being handled by another Marine named Foreman. Megan approached Ghani, but he claimed it wasn't his decision. The veterinarian had deemed Rex unsuitable for adoption, so he had to be reassigned because he belonged to the Marine Corps. Ghani had strong reasons for this. Megan tried to spend as much time as possible with Rex before he was deployed again, but it was beyond her control. She eventually went home, where her mother, Jackie, tried to cheer her up by buying her a puppy. However, Megan was offended, as no dog could replace Rex, who had saved her life. Megan argued with her mother and decided to leave. She went to her father Bob's house to stay with him. That night, Megan experienced PTSD while sleeping and couldn't bear the thought of a dog suffering because it was abandoned by its owner. Ghani was right. I won't be able to handle civilian life because being a Marine has changed me. A year later, Megan regularly attended a support group for war veterans with PTSD. She had learned to control herself, but she still thought about Rex. Her days felt meaningless without him. Even Bob urged Megan to move on and live a normal life, but she couldn't do it without Rex. Bob encouraged Megan to find a way to reunite with Rex while also getting a job and socializing in the community. Megan called the base almost daily to speak to Foreman, the Marine handling Rex, but her calls were always cut off. One day, while working, Megan finally received a call from Foreman. She learned that Rex was doing well, and that Foreman invited her to visit Rex because he was about to be retired. However, the veterinarian still wouldn't recommend Rex for adoption, and Rex was seriously ill. Undeterred by the doctor's decision, Megan took a different approach. She met with a senator who was also a military veteran and told him about Rex's story and her desire to adopt him. The senator agreed to support her. In addition to meeting with the senator, Megan also gathered a petition from the public to support her adoption of Rex. Her efforts went viral, and she was invited to a TV interview. During the interview, Megan assured the public that Rex wasn't dangerous. He was just scared and suffering from PTSD, just like her. The petition garnered 22,000 signatures, and even Ghani was impressed by his former Marine's determination. On the day of Rex's retirement ceremony, Megan reunited with Morales, who had come to attend Chico's retirement ceremony. However, Morales had one more mission before he left the Marines. Morales whispered to Megan that Rex would be returning to her, which made Megan incredibly happy. After the ceremony, Rex ran towards Megan as soon as he saw her. Megan took Rex home and they finally lived together. Inspired by Megan and Rex's story, they were invited to Yankee Stadium in New York, where they received recognition for their service. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Amri Film channel so you don't miss the next movie recaps.